Okay, so if you bear with us for 5 minutes, we'll be starting the MintTwist video marketing workshop very shortly. Okay.
Is it?
I had to restart it, the software just failed.
So did you start the stream?
I've just started it and I just spoke a little bit, so it's...
Oh, okay, cool.
We're good. And when I flick back here, does it reflect back on the screen?
Let's see. That looked alright.
Perfect.
And the video is that one? Oh yeah, that's okay.
Good.
Everything's good. Yeah, we're ready to go. Right, doors open. Hello.
Have a seat.
How are you? Hi there. It's Mark. Nice to meet you. Hello there. It's Mark. Nice to meet you. Welcome, welcome. Get comfortable, guys.
Right, I'm going to have a coffee. Who else would like to join me? Coffee for you, please.
How are you all today?
Good.
Good. Is the weather good outside?
No,
I thought it was going to rain. It is raining, right?
I think we just started.
Get your coffee?
Just some water.
Yeah. Well, we've got these no brand waters.
Okay.
If you want, we've got spot. I think that's still, but we've got
This one.
sparkling. This is a new no brand for us.
Environmental.
Okay, do you want to put?
Yes, please.
It's part of the
Yeah,
intelligence
I think
test,
it's
you see.
better
If you can open it, you're allowed to stay. I held this up to milk and sugar just there. Okay, should we start off by doing some introductions? First of all, let me welcome you to MintTwist. Thank you very much for coming along to join our workshop. I think it's really worth if we just go around and introduce ourselves and say a bit about who we are, because then it makes it more entertaining and hopefully useful for everyone. So I'll start. So my name's Elliot King. I'm one of the co-founders of MintTwist. So I've got a good insight into a lot of sort of digital marketing aspects. And video marketing is something I'll let Itamar introduce himself in a moment. He's the expert in the room. But it's something I think is really interesting. It's really growing at the moment. It's becoming increasingly significant for sort of marketing campaigns all over the place. So thank you very much for coming. Pleasure to meet you all. Here we go.
Yes, my name is Caitlin. I work within the account management team at MintTwist. So yeah, I'm just sort of, and today I've been emailing you all just as sort of point of contact, and also just to learn a little bit more about digital marketing as well.
I'm Juliet. I work for Main Adley Associates, which is just around the corner. So I have no excuse for being late. And I look after all the marketing for the organisation. We're quite a small organisation, and we're not currently doing a lot with video. So, do you say a little bit more about it?
Awesome.
Welcome.
Shall we go this way?
That's a very cool Fitbit you've got. Is that Fitbit?
Yeah, it is.
It's really
Yeah, so
nice.
The Amazon one cost me like £2 because the plastic one kept breaking. So.
Oh, the strap. Oh, the
Yeah.
strap costs you £2.
This is-
Yeah.
this is
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really cool. Fitbits, all the range in my house. My wife and all my 3 daughters are all like hassling me for one. We've got one between 4 at the moment. So I know that my daughters are going to love that. That strap's really cool. I'll definitely look out for that.
Yeah, so my name's Itamar, and I've been here at MintTwist since last June, and I'm specialising in SEO, also bits of PPC, but really video is kind of what my main expertise in, because I've got experience in uploading videos on social media from about 2008, mainly on YouTube, and so my kind of background's a lot been in content creation and video creation, all the kind of things that I'm going to be speaking about today in terms of video marketing, but that's a really long introduction.
My name is Rich. I'm very much in the process of forming my company now.
Okay, cool.
And it's kind of like a cycling-related product.
Right.
So I'll probably need a bit of everything, a bit of like Humford, the video part, and also like PPC campaigns and that kind of digital.
So what's the product?
Well, it's very much still in development, so
Okay.
I'm not sure how much.
Top secret.
Yeah.
Cool. But it's going to be an e-commerce business, I guess.
Predominantly.
Right. Cool.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Tatiana. I actually started my own business recently, but it's pretty busy with everything else. I'm also a student at CAS, doing my MBA, and I'm here for the second time.
Yeah.
The first workshop was about SEO, which was really great, so I'm looking forward to this one. I worked in marketing, but in cross-cultural marketing, especially like in adaptations, linguistic and cultural adaptation of marketing content, and not much into all the strategy bits. So now I'm shifting a bit the direction, dive in deeper.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for
No, it's a pleasure. So before Itamar gets going, just to say a couple of things. So I think we're waiting for 3 more people, so some people might come into the room, in which case we might need to shuffle up, but no stress. Or they'll need to shuffle up, but no stress there. The other thing to say is what we're doing today is we're actually live streaming this workshop. So MintTwist are kind of experimenting with this technology. Don't worry, it's not. We don't have like a massive audience. The stuff we do is for our clients. So you will be able to find this content on YouTube. But more importantly, if there are other workshops you want to come in the future and you can't come in person, you can watch live stream. But the way live streaming works, you can also watch the replay as well. And Itamar will be touching on that and how live fits in with video marketing in general, which it does and it will do increasingly. Okay.
Yeah, sure. So I guess we're ready to start now. And actually, before I do start, today is actually the 30th anniversary of the World Wide Web, which is quite cool, because kind of related to this, you think back and how when it started 30 years ago, like nobody would have really expected the World Wide Web, like digital technologies, computers, to get to the stage they're at today, which I think is quite remarkable. Wow, that's very nostalgic. Okay, so yeah, let's start. So my name is Itamar Blauer. Like I said before, I'm going to be talking to you guys about video marketing, and if we go to the next slide, there'll be a summary section where we'll just explain the kind of things we're going to go over today. So we're going to go through the key insights and kind of explaining the why, because always when you start off thinking about the types of campaigns you want to be running, it's always good to know what the reason is for that. So we're going to show you some key insights as to why video is so crucial and so important in this day and age. Then we're going to go through types of video, because video is not just, video, it's video. There's so many different types of videos you can create, so we'll be going through those. We're going to go through video planning, because planning is essential no matter what you do in business or in your life, you have to plan. We're going to go through equipment and editing best practices. So just so you guys know, when you're wanting to create your own videos, the kind of things that you should be trying to go for, kind of like benchmarks and best practices for video and video editing. We're going to go through different platforms, because you can't upload the same video on all the different social media platforms. We'll discuss the pros and cons of each, what people generally like to see on these individual platforms, what's good to get really high engagement from the platforms you want to upload on. And then the last thing is we are going to how to share video content. So it's all well and good, you've got your video up there. It's really important to know how to share it to the right people, because that's going to be the difference between getting a lead, getting business, and not, right? So, key insights. We want to ask first and foremost, why video? So you can see by this graphic, this was from towards the third quarter of 2017, but the question is, what kind of content do you want to see from a brand or business you support? And the majority of people selected videos. And there are many reasons for that. It can be that in this day and age, there's so much content being put up online, people don't really have the time to be reading through a bunch of text. And I mean, this is why you can see that blog articles only got 18% of votes, because, you know, blog articles in the past, you know, it's just a bunch of text written content that takes a lot longer to read than if you've got a video where somebody can watch and listen in more than half of the time. So that's why video is preferred in terms of a consumer perspective, in terms of what customers want to see. So if we move on, we have just some more stats for you. So this one right here, 75% of all mobile data will be video by 2020. So 3 out of 4 pieces of content you'll see on mobile data will be video. I think that's a crazy, crazy figure compared to what it was a few years back. We've also got reports from Cisco that they predict 80% of all internet traffic will be video by 2021, which shows that it's relevant. It shows that the content to be uploading now is video. And also, oh, sorry, let me just go back. Yeah, there's just a few more I want to touch on, because the second one is, you know, larger companies will have a bigger budget to produce videos with professional equipment. They might go to different locations, spend, you know, they might have high budgets. The thing is with videos is that there's no correlation between the company, how big the company is, and the number of videos you can produce. So that shows that it can even work on quite a small budget. You don't need to invest that heavily into creating good video content, which is great because it just means that you're able to kind of push through these barriers. There's less barriers to entry when it comes to video and getting your video shared, and to make successful videos online.
I don't know if, just to interject, I don't know how many of you are LinkedIn users, but if you're on a platform like LinkedIn, you probably might have observed a massive explosion of video content over the last relatively short period. I think LinkedIn video has been enabled for nearly 2 years, but it appears, you know, Itamar and I been. So the explosion has been more recent, absolutely, particularly this calendar year. It is amazing, and it's these types of platforms that sort of lend themselves to, you know, low production quality, therefore, you know, not low budget. It's you know, it's very easy to produce video, as we all know, and that's what's probably driving this type of trend. Because certainly 5 years ago, when I was talking to marketeers, marketing directors, the idea of producing a video was something they had to budget £10,000 plus for, and they wouldn't really have necessarily been thinking about it, particularly if they were an SME.
Yeah, that's something that we'll touch on later, but it's also true. I mean, I've been doing the same. I've been uploading videos on LinkedIn with my phone. So in terms of that, it works on a small budget. Anyone can pretty much do it because everyone has phones, right? So videos less than 90 seconds in length see an average retention rate of 59% compared to videos over 30 minutes that only retain 40% of viewers. So the key message to get from this is that short videos will keep your audience engaged. This goes on to the previous point I said about the amount of content there is online. You go down any kind of feed on social media, be it LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, there's so much content out there. People don't have the time to sit through 30 minutes of video content. So if you keep it to around 90 seconds, that's going to be the ideal kind of duration to have your video in order to kind of keep the retention, but also to get your message out there. So, you know, when you're planning, you have to make sure that you're getting the message across in around 90 seconds. And the last stat we've got is that 90% of customers say video helps them make buying decisions. So 90%, so 9 out of 10 people, if they watch a video, that will help inform them on buying decisions. So if your business model is you're selling products, you've got an e-commerce business, no matter what kind of business you do, if you sell products or services, if you've got videos that inform people about what your offering is, they are more likely to get a better informed decision, and that will help them make their purchasing decisions. So video is key for that. And also 64% of customers say that seeing a video makes them more likely to buy.
Is it about, is it about products or services or both?
It can be both. It doesn't matter if you do products or services. Like, for example, MintTwist, you know, a digital agency providing services for digital marketing businesses. We've been using video. Other clients of ours have been using video. They're selling products or services. It really doesn't matter. I think just the core message is that, you know, if you're a business, videos that help give information to your audience will help them convert, rather than just having, for example, landing pages on your website that only have text but no visual elements to them. So
even within like clothing websites and stuff now, online, a lot of websites now do like a short 10-second video of somebody wearing the outfit, and I do think that that makes me buy so much more, because on a picture you're like, don't know, and then if you see it in a video you can see the sort of quality a lot more, and then it definitely does make you
It kind of
buy.
brings everything alive.
Yeah, it brings everything to life, I would
It's a
say.
different space, so it's important for us to feel that it's closer to the real world.
Yeah.
definitely. I think also with clothing brands, people do like t-shirts, whether it's like for fitness or other clothing brands. They've been, it's not really video, but they've been using a lot of augmented reality, kind of like where you can pick, so like a t-shirt, and then you hold your phone out, and then you can kind of see yourself wearing that t-shirt. So that, along with video, are just the ways that technology is evolving into helping people make these purchasing decisions, which I think is really cool. So yeah, those are the main insights as to why video is so important now. If we move on to types of video, so here is a list of most, if not all, of the types of marketing videos you can do. If we go to the next slide, I don't want to bore you with all these, I'll just tell you the most important ones that you should focus on for your business. So first of all, we've got demo videos. This is videos where you're showcasing a demo of a product. Most of the time it would be a product, could be a service as well, but this is where you're basically demo, short video. You're not giving too much away, but you're just making sure that the person understands kind of like what your offering's about and what it does, so you show them. So this is actually really important if people want to buy, for example, like a car, say like a luxury car. If you see like a demo of that car going like top speed, you're like, wow, that's a fast car, and then you might buy it, right? So that in terms of that, demo videos can be really good. You've got brand videos, which are just videos about your brand. These can be quite varied in type, in like what the video is about. It could just be something like showing what your brand's ethos are. It could be anything from showcasing like your brand in terms of the real world, in terms of like the work, office behavior, that kind of settings. So it's just to kind of show your brand's true colors, I guess, in these types of videos. And personally, I find that really important when I'm looking to buy from a large company. I kind of want to see what their intentions are, because you know, sometimes you don't get the full picture when you're just reading stuff online. If you can actually see a video of these people, real life people, on video from the company that you might want to buy from, that can help give you like a better kind of feeling, like you're more connected to these companies. Event videos, so things like this, really just filming different events that you're doing within your company. This might be more common for some companies more than others, but event videos are usually quite nice. If you've got a big event, you could get recordings of that, compile it into a video that you can later share on social media. We've got expert interviews. This is, again, it's quite situational when you use this, but if you're, say, for example, a law firm, and there's like an expert in law that you want to interview about a certain topic, or about like Brexit or whatnot, then you can do that. That can kind of be very informative for people who are following you. So if people are following you in that niche, they might really value seeing videos of experts speaking about whatever topic it is they're speaking about. Animated videos, these are actually really cool. I will show you in a case study later on. We had an animated video for one of our services, or a couple even. Animated videos are just like 2D, just like drawings, you know, you guys have seen them, right? Like these 2D animated videos that kind of just tell a story that can help sell like a product service, and they're quite fun. They're not real, but I mean, they're cool to look at if they're done well. And the last one is live videos, which is what we're doing now, live streaming on YouTube. Live video potential has increased a lot recently with different platforms getting into the mix, so you can do them already on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn have announced just a couple weeks ago that they're going to introduce live streaming as well. And this just shows that, you know, the real-time communication that you have with your audience can really help them become more connected to your brand. So I personally think live video is massive if you are trying to really capture your audience. Because when you think of live videos, these are videos that you can't just edit, you can't just choose the best bits. And these are the types of videos that show your true colors as a brand, as people. So live video is definitely the way forward if you want to kind of give people a truer kind of outlook on what it is that you do in your business.
Since the live video, I'm imagining that 90-second rule isn't really not found that as much, or does it?
No, it doesn't apply as much because live video you can choose obviously however long you're streaming. Like we're streaming this now, we're not, you know, if this was 90 seconds, it would be finished a while ago. But yeah, with live videos it's different. I think the point is in live video it's less about the duration of the live video, it's more about the content that you're getting out, the messages that you're getting out, but also what you're getting in. Because the beautiful thing about live video is that you've got two-way communication that's in real time, and so you can get your potential consumers, people interested in you, to write down questions, messages, and you can respond to them as you see them. And people do value that communication a lot. That is a great way for people to feel more connected to your brand. So yeah, duration doesn't matter too much about live video, but obviously, I mean, if you're just having like just a general chat, then it's like, I don't know, it'll be like an hour, 2 hours long. But
the LinkedIn platform. So Itamar and I were doing some investigation into the LinkedIn platform, which is announced a few weeks ago that they're going to start live streaming. It hasn't enabled it just yet. But they, unlike probably YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, who've sort of just set up live streaming to get on with it, users, LinkedIn seems to be taking an approach that's a bit more sort of coordinated. They're going to try and funnel people down to creating live streams that are actually going to be relevant for an audience. It would be things like events. It would be things like, you know, the larger companies' earnings calls. So, you know, quarterly financial results and things like that, so that investors can, you know, wherever they are in the world, can ask questions and you know, product launches, for example, live product launches. Like, you know, particularly if you've got something that's quite secret and you want to announce it, in one go. Those types of things tend to lend themselves very well to live streaming. And if you look, LinkedIn are sort of pushing out quite a lot of content about what they think will work for their audience, which is obviously a business audience, which would be, you know, potentially relevant for us. But in terms of the B2C audiences, it's kind of the same. It's the interactiveness and it's the special features. I mean, it wouldn't just be, you know, it's not any type of video. It's quite specific.
Yeah, a good example of that is when Apple announced the iPhone X. So they did a live video. I think it was on Twitter. They were live streaming as they were like announcing the new phone. So that kind of stuff, like launches for different products, that is a great way to use videos. And with hashtags as well, because like on Twitter, you've got a hashtag, they pay to get a sponsored hashtag, people see it, and that creates the kind of hype around that. So that's also something you can do when you're doing live video. If we move on to the next slide, we've got mobile first video, and this is when you've got the portrait aspect ratio for videos that the majority of smartphones are, because people hold their phones vertically 90% of the time. And this is really important to know. So if you are trying to create videos and you feel like the majority of your audience will be viewing this from a mobile device, then definitely consider creating video content that is portrait in terms of its aspect ratio. As we can see, like 9:16, 4:5. And the duration of these can obviously vary, but because people will most likely be seeing this whilst they're scrolling down the feed, either on LinkedIn or on your like Facebook company page or whatever, just keep in mind that, like I said, there's so much content out there. We want to keep it to the point to get your message across. And yeah, so these mobile first videos are something that a lot of advertisers are doing. For example, on YouTube, they only released, I think, a few months ago, they were doing portrait ads because they understood that most people on their phones are holding it vertically. And so that wasn't a thing before. Before, the ads would only, like, you'd have to make it a landscape orientation. So definitely mobile first video, keeping it portrait when you're thinking about, you know, who your audience are, where they're going to be accessing your content from. Because obviously if the majority of your audiences are using desktops and laptops, this wouldn't be as applicable. So this is more, like it suggests, mobile first video. So that's something to keep in mind. And when you create videos, you might want to have different types. You might want to have one that's for the people who are browsing on desktops and laptops, and another one for mobile first. So if you have that variety, that is often a good way to show out your content to people who are viewing from different devices. Okay.
So if you create portrait style video and put it on YouTube, and someone's consuming it on a mobile, will it render in that way, or is that?
Yeah, it will. It will. So when you hold up, if you're watching, if a video was rendered to be in portrait and you watch it on YouTube and move your phone so it's like landscape, you'll only see a strip like that with the black bars to the side. But then once you put it back to portrait, you'll see the full screen being shown.
What about the other way?
Well, the other way is just usually like 1280 by 720. That's the.
So if you were looking at a portrait, it wouldn't. If you created a portrait video and looked at it that way, it wouldn't flip. So that you've seen it, so obviously.
Yeah, if it was like the regular kind of rectangular videos, if you flip it to portrait, you won't see the full thing. But yeah, that's just something that you guys can think about if you want to look into mobile first video. Any questions in that section, or are we good to move on? Cool. Now is video planning. And these are essential things you need to think about when you're planning your video. Number one is the script. When you're creating video, if it's not live video, and even in live video, you will need to at least think about the types of things you're going to say. But having a script is very important when you're creating video content, because you want to make sure when you're reading through the script, you want to make sure that it's including the key components of what you're trying to get out of it. So you've got to always think about which is the last point, or what is the purpose, right? So you want to make sure that the key messaging is included in the script. That's vital for any video that you do, and it fits well with the purpose point, because you know there's a purpose behind the script. The second one is location of filming. This is also very important, because depending on like what your company is, what you do, where you are, location is really important. If you're in a country with nice weather, you might want to film outside. Can't really do that here. So location is very important. You might want to have it like in your head office. Might want to have it, for example, if you are releasing like a new fast car, you want to have it there where people can see it in the background or something like that. So location is really important when you film. Next is the people and the audio within the video. So the audio is related to the script, but also the people who you're going to feature in it, because it's always good in a video to see people. You know, people, when they see another person on the screen, they're more likely to notice it, because that's just the biology, I guess, psychology of human behavior, right? So it's important to know who you want to be in the video, who's going to be speaking. Obviously, you need to make sure that you are very clear when you produce video content, so you know, if the person has quite a difficult accent to understand, might not be the best thing, but that's why we've got subtitles, which is the next thing. So subtitles are really important just from a kind of user experience point of view, but also from an SEO perspective, because if we take YouTube, for example, if you add subtitles to your videos, then the crawl of the videos you upload, so YouTube will crawl the video. If they see that there's a subtitle file which is a .srt file, then they'll be able to pick out the kind of keywords. They'll be able to see exactly what keywords you are trying to rank for on that video, and then that can help position your videos higher. This is also important on LinkedIn, because I think with LinkedIn, a lot of people they don't really want to have audio on. I feel like a lot of people kind of just kind of scroll through. They'll have the preview when you go to a video on LinkedIn, for example. There's a preview of it. It'll start playing, but there won't be any audio. If you have subtitles enabled on that, people will stay they can still be previewing it and actually read what you're saying as you're saying it. So subtitles are very, very crucial nowadays with video. And like I brought up before about the purpose, so you want a call to action in your videos. You want people to act. You don't just want them to watch a video and then leave and forget everything that was mentioned or was said. So and these purposes can be different. You can have a purposes for a call to action so that you can persuade somebody to buy your product or your service. It could also be awareness. You can also make a video to make people aware of what you're doing. And the awareness, a lot of time, is what people are going to remember. You know, if you've got a well produced video whose purpose is for awareness, then people can actually remember that video, and then later on they might act and they might buy your products, your services, visit your website, etc. And the last one is entertainment. And this does definitely depend on the type of company you are, because a law firm's not really, I don't know how they could put up entertaining videos. I don't know, but it really does depend. But if you're kind of like a fun kind of company, you want to get that kind of ethos out and the way that you approach your customers, your consumers. Entertainment videos as a purpose can be quite nice sometimes to have. So that's video planning, and the next section is equipment and editing. So, cameras. And don't worry, the slides will be sent so you guys can access all these links. But cameras are very, very important, because nowadays when we've got things like 4K quality with 60 FPS, there's a lot of people who are very savvy about those kind of things, and they want to be able to see video in the highest resolution possible. So here's just a list where you've got kind of different categories, like best for value, for action, for zoom, and you can kind of pick and choose depending on the kinds of content you want to create. So for example, you might want just best value if you haven't got a great massive budget, or you know, if you want best zoom, if the videos you're creating will require you to be using the zoom feature and that's important to you, then you might opt for one like that. That's just a list of different video cameras that you can look into. I mean, if you already have one, then I mean, by all means, if you feel like you're happy with the video camera you've got, by all means use it. But this is just a nice list to kind of.
What sort of prices are the ones at the top?
I can't imagine they'd be more than a few £100. So I think that
The cost of the equipment's come down a lot.
It has come down, because I think, you know, as with all technology, the new ones, if we're talking like cameras that they use to film movies, they're going to be in the few thousands of pounds, right, at least. But, you know, these kinds of cameras, and there's a lot of competition, so the price does actually go down. So it shouldn't be that difficult to get a very, very good quality camera for not that much money.
What's your opinion on like using a mobile to shoot some videos? Because also the latest phones they shoot 4K, pretty kind of decent.
Well, I mean, this is an iPhone X, and the camera is excellent in there, which is why sort of we use it. But these cameras are a bit.
Yeah, no, I think it's always a funny one with phones, because a lot of times, like, in the way that they give out the specs of different cameras. Like it might shoot 4K, but then it might only have like 5 megapixels, if that makes sense. There's always like, you know, I don't think a phone camera will ever be better than like a really good video camera, because, you know, at the end of the day, a phone is a phone. Like it'll have every bit, but I mean, we'll probably have to wait about a decade until we've got a phone that does everything perfectly with the best quality. But I mean, that's not to say that, for example, like the new iPhones, new Samsungs, that they're bad, because they're, I mean, people have said people do use them for recording, especially Google Pixel. I think that phone was meant to kind of be very focused on the camera, on recording videos. So I think phones are doable. I mean, I have an iPhone SE, so while I do take videos on them, they're not great quality. But yeah, I think nowadays you should have no problem recording with mobile phones if that's something you wanna do.
Well, it depends on what production value you're going for. If it's like high production quality stuff, then it's what it is, isn't it? If it's social media, quick you know, insights about something, then it probably works.
Yeah, that's also true, because, you know, if you only want to put up something on your LinkedIn feed, you're not just going to get the camera out, face it towards you, record, have to get micro disc, and then put it into the laptop, edit, upload. You know, sometimes it is a lot easier with your phone. So now we've got microphones, and, you know, it's one thing to have a video camera, and it's another thing to have a great microphone. And so this is just a list of different mics. I personally have the Blue Yeti at home, and I think it's a really good microphone because you've got loads of different dials, and you can kind of choose where you want the sound to come from. So you can choose it either to be right in front of the mic, you can choose it to be the sides, you can choose it to be the whole surround pickup of audio. And that's really good if, for example, you're making different videos, like, say, one video might just be you speaking, so you just want it in front, but you might also be recording a kind of conference where you want to have it all around. And I mean, there's a massive choice. You can check this link. I do need water. I left my bottle downstairs. Sorry. It means I'm not talking for too long. But yeah, you can click that link when we send the slides over, and then you can review these mics. Also, go on YouTube and look for like demos of different mics, because you can then kind of hear the quality. But
a lot of sort of YouTubers and podcasters, you'll hear them talk a lot about the quality of the mic is absolutely crucial. This mic here is like a specialist, but as a conference mic, so it will pick up voice from all around. But if you are going to do some recording where you sit down and present something, then one of those types of mics will focus very much on the presenter is the way to do it.
yeah, and you've also got mics that connect to the camera, so like you're shooting outside and it's windy, there's like the, you know, those little fluffy things that you put on. Yeah, so those like help cut out the wind. So there's different like attachments you've got for different cameras. Okay, so now we're on to editing. And editing can be very easy or difficult depending on your experience, your skill level, etc. And there's loads of different programs, and a lot of them are very beginner friendly. I think Final Cut Pro is quite beginner friendly, the one that comes on Macs. I personally always use Sony Vegas Pro, which is a bit more advanced, but I mean, if you're, you know, these kinds of like Premiere, Vegas Pro, a lot of times they're for like really edit heavy kinds of videos, which I don't think you particularly want unless you're making a movie. But so choose the right program for you, and this isn't just the full list. There's loads and loads of different pieces of software you can use. You want to remove awkward or long breaks when you're recording, which we can't do now because it's live stream, but you can kind of split the video files and the audio files just to remove kind of breaks, things like that. So it's easier for people to kind of follow along. Correct rendering is very important because you can't just make any kind of video, render it the same way, and it'll be the same quality. You've got different rendering options. For example, if you want to render in 4K, if you want to render it as like a portrait video. So that's the kind of stuff where you need to kind of look into just Google searches on how best rendering for like a portrait video or for 4K video, and include the editing software you use, because they'll show you, loads of tutorials that will show you how to do that. Also, non-copyrighted background music can be quite nice, especially if you're talking. It's just quite a nice, chill environment where people are listening, so it's not just they're listening to your voice and that's it. But make sure it's non-copyrighted, especially if you're uploading on YouTube, because you don't want to get demonetized.
Just on that, I think it was a recent announcement from Facebook, and Facebook and Instagram. They've done a deal with loads of back catalogue musicians, and so there's now an enormous amount of music you can use without getting into any copyright issue on Instagram and Facebook. And YouTube, I don't think the deal is quite so extensive, but there's also you also access a lot of background music to use in your files. Once you've uploaded to those platforms, you're trying to use some sort of your own platform, making create a native video, then you would need to check the copyright.
Yeah, because obviously, like intellectual property, that's something very important. So making sure you've got the rights to use all the content that you're producing. And the last thing is avoid too many effects. I mean, because we're not making movies here, right? We're making videos that people need to understand, needs to be clear. So just avoid all the. I'm kind of thinking in my head now, like just an action movie. We've got like the fire and stuff like that. You don't really need that. Sometimes less is more, right? So simple videos that get to the point, that look good. That's all you kind of need to have like a winning video for your brand. Yeah, so that's about editing. And next we're going to go through platforms. So there's loads of platforms that you can upload video on. You've got long versus short form content that is really important you experiment with. Typically, platforms like YouTube, you can upload longer form videos. These range from like 10 to 20 minute long videos. You can do less, but if you've got two different versions of video, one that you want to upload on YouTube, one that you want to upload on LinkedIn, for example. On LinkedIn, if you're uploading it should be probably less than 2 minutes, maybe 3 maximum, just because of the reasons we said before. People don't really have the time on LinkedIn because there's a lot of content being on there. But if it's YouTube, you can upload long videos, which is what we actually did when we were talking about when LinkedIn were introducing live streaming. So we had one video uploaded on LinkedIn, which was 2 minutes long, and then the full version on YouTube, which was 9 minutes long. And the nice thing is on LinkedIn is that you can just add a link in the comment, so people who want to watch the full version can go over to YouTube, and then in that way you're getting more views and people can get more information if they want. And then this moves on to the native uploads. So we're talking, because this wasn't just we had a YouTube video that was shorter and then sent the link here. This is where we're uploading videos directly onto LinkedIn, and this is good because you'll get better engagement and there's a higher priority on feeds. Because LinkedIn don't want people to bounce elsewhere; they want people to actually upload videos on their platform so people watch it on their platform. They don't want people to link to YouTube where people will click the link and they'll go to YouTube, right? So LinkedIn, they're basically rewarding people who are uploading natively. It will come up on your feeds. Also, if people comment on your videos, like your videos, share, all those people's connections will see that video come up on their feed as well. And that's one way where you can really get viral videos on LinkedIn, because you're able to spread your videos out to your connections and their connections. And in that way, it's a really, really good tip to help spread your content, especially if you're just starting out. You also have to remember, your target audience and what they're looking for. So the example here is like, posting accounting and tax videos on Instagram, for example, it's not going to be helpful, right? Because people who care about that stuff, they're not really going to be on Instagram looking for accounting tips or whatever. So you need to really know who your audience are. You need to know what platforms they use, how they engage on different platforms, and that's one way to kind of know which platform you want to upload on. And because there's different types of engagement on different platforms. Something like YouTube, where you can click on a video, watch the full video, move on, that's great. But if you've got the same kind of video on Instagram, like, people aren't going to be, they're not going to be sitting there watching it because they want to be scrolling. So you just need to know how the different platforms work and the best ways to retain and engage your audience on these platforms. So yeah, that's about the platforms. We've got a case study, which is great because I need to take a break from talking. But this is the animated video I was talking about before. This is one that we did for our SEO page, and hopefully the audio works.
MintTwist SEO services. Google receives over 69,912 searches per second on any given day, which represents 80.5% of the total search engine market share. We can help you to improve your rankings, increase website traffic, and get more conversions. Our approach. Phase 1. Campaign research, strategy, planning, and on-site optimization. Initially, we will carry out the following. Consult with client, competitor and keyword research, technical SEO audit, content gap analysis.
Yeah, so you guys get the idea, I guess, of this video.
On-site optimization.
We did have another one
SEO analysis
for PPC, which had, it was actually like colored, like there was color everywhere and stuff, but that's just an example of like an animated 2D video. And the next slide will show you actually what we did with it. So, we uploaded this video onto YouTube with the purpose of embedding the video from YouTube onto our SEO service page. So we did that back in November? Yeah, I think it was November when we put this up. And then we checked the analytics from November till about February. And then we compared it to the previous period. And as you can see, in terms of the engagement metrics, the number of sessions increased, new sessions increased, new users increased, and I think the most significant one is the bounce rate. So if you don't know what bounce rate is, it's basically the percentage of people who kind of go on the page and then go off elsewhere, they bounce elsewhere. So previously, before the video was on there, it was 17.58, which is pretty good. It's a pretty good metric. But then after we had it, it was 2.94, which is a very, very good level of bounce rate to have. It shows that people were actually clicking on the video and watching it, and as people stay on the page, they're engaged more, they tend to bounce less. And so this is shown here. Also, pages per session increased, and the average session duration increased by about 20 seconds or so. So people were on the page for longer, primarily because we also had the video towards the top of the page, so it was above the fold, so people didn't have to scroll down to watch it, and that's really good when you go on a page and you can see video content that's above the fold, so people don't have to scroll down to see it. And
the actual number of sessions are up as well. Is that because this page ranked higher and had attracted more visitors, or is that just?
Yeah, generally when you have a video on a web page, if we're kind of like if you're Google and you're comparing two of the same pages with the same content, if one has a video and one doesn't, the one with the video will rank higher. So that can also be why sessions have increased, because it helps us rank higher for the keywords we're trying to rank for. So that's just the kind of case study just to show you the effects it can have when you've got video and using, for example, this example was YouTube and embedding it onto a website. And that's usually what most people do. You can do Vimeo as well, if you guys have heard of Vimeo, right? So, but usually with Vimeo, it's kind of like the longer videos that are more like professionally edited, very specific kinds of niches, that's what Vimeo is usually for. So if you're like a massive MNC, you might do that, which you can also embed, but in this case we did it on from YouTube, and that worked really well for us. And last thing, I think this is the last section, this is about sharing video content. So the number one rule is people aren't going to share your content if it's not great. Okay? They're not going to share it for the sake of sharing it. People typically share videos that they have learned something from, that they kind of feel inspired, that they, you know, they've learned something, they've connected, they've engaged, and they want to share that experience. And that's typically the way people are going to share your videos. So that's like number one, your content must be great. You can also ask. Asking is great. I think people, for example, on Twitter, if there was like a study that showed if you put please RT, like please retweet in the caption, more people would retweet it. So it doesn't hurt even to ask towards like the end of the video, like if you found this helpful, please share it with your connections or your friends, whatever, right? And you can do the same thing in the caption, like above. So if you upload on LinkedIn, it's like you put like please share if you found this video useful, and things like that. Because a lot of times people do. People will listen to that, and you'll find that you're getting more shares than on another video where you didn't mention anything about that. Comments are also very important in terms of ranking, and I mentioned this before on LinkedIn, because you know, if you comment, the connections of that person who comments will see it, and then etc. etc. So that's kind of like a snowball effect on the amount of views and the amount of people that you can reach out to. So definitely on LinkedIn, comments are very important. You also want to have different length content on different platforms. So I did mention this before, but like it's very important to understand how each social media platform works and how people engage on these different platforms. So short form content for video is better on stuff like LinkedIn, Twitter. Long form content for the YouTube, video, even Facebook in some cases. And the last thing is you can offer giveaways. If you're a new company, especially if you've got a new product line, offer giveaways, because people do like free stuff, and loads of people, you know, they will, if it's something that they can do that's really simple, like a video and share it, and they, you know, they've got a chance at winning something, then they'll do it. And when they share it, you know, you're exposing your brand, you're exposing your products and services to other people as well. So, and that can also have a kind of snowball effect. So giveaways are quite a nice thing to do. I haven't really been seeing it. I don't really see it too much with like brands that are doing it, or like companies, but I'm sure brands do, but giveaways can be a really nice way to kind of broaden your audience whilst also having people engage on your content. And I think that's just about it. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, we can discuss now, and feel free to contact me on Twitter, LinkedIn, or send me an email. So yeah, any other questions we got here?
Thanks very much, Ismail.
Yeah, thank you.
What do you think the next big trends are in video and the social media platforms?
In social media platforms?
Video on social media.
Video on social media, okay. Let's see, I think YouTube is kind of gonna go down a bit in terms of brands. I think YouTube as a platform is not in a great space at the moment. There's a lot of controversy around it in terms of types of videos people can upload and a bunch of other stuff. LinkedIn is going to go up. I feel that Facebook will eventually retaliate, and Facebook are going to care more about videos, kind of like as a way to compete with LinkedIn, I feel like. And obviously Facebook, you've got Instagram. I mean, Instagram TV, I don't know if any of you guys use it. Like, I personally don't, but I mean, I definitely see Instagram trying to boost Instagram.
IGTV is an interesting. Do you use it? Do anyone use it?
No. I can't say I really watch it either. Like, I always get sort of notifications for it, but it's never something that I actually choose to click on.
It must be about a year old now, and they definitely are inside Instagram, which obviously loads of people are using. They're pushing IGTV, but it doesn't seem to be gaining the traction that they wanted it to.
No, I mean, because I don't know about you guys, but I like if I follow a big account and they kind of put something on IGTV, you'll get a notification, kind of like, and there'll be like a little red mark above, like, because you access IGTV from the top of the Instagram feed. So I'll have that, but I don't really want to click it because I'm not really on Instagram for that, if that makes sense. And that's another example actually of you know how important it is to kind of know the platforms and know what the platforms are good for and what they're not good for. Because I don't particularly see Instagram being a good competitor to YouTube in terms of having long form video content up there. So it was very interesting, like when IGTV was released, because I was very skeptical. I was very like, no one's really going to be opting for this, and I'd like to say I was right. I don't know. I mean, I personally don't use it. But yeah, I think Instagram will be definitely trying to do something.
The noise is coming up. Facebook's last earnings call, they buried some of the data about IGTV because I think it's not working in the way that they want it to. They strategically though, it's really interesting because if you think about it, Google own YouTube, and YouTube's going to start competing with Netflix. But then you guys use YouTube, right? If you've been advertised the premium things, the $9.99 a month, YouTube's going to keep pushing that harder and harder and harder, and it will probably work, in my opinion. Which means they're moving into Netflix territory. Which means if Google's winning there, then Facebook are missing out there. So Facebook, whether it's IGTV or something else, they're going to have to try and compete, I think.
Yeah, definitely just be prepared to just see like a massive like announcement of the next kind of way that these companies want people to use video and see video on their platforms. But I think for now, LinkedIn is the way to go. I feel like I'm very for LinkedIn video, just because of the reach, because of the people that you're connected to. It's not like YouTube where people have to kind of look for the content, because if you upload on LinkedIn and you're connected, usually you'll be connected with people of similar fields, similar interests to you, right? People in your kind of territory of business, if that makes sense. And so the people who are connected to those people most likely will also be in that same kind of sphere. So in terms of the people you can reach, they're going to be a lot more relevant to what you're trying to sell.
Do you think there's a sort of like frequency as to how many videos we should put up within a week or a month, or do you think there is, or there's no sort of limit?
It really does depend on your capabilities. It depends on how much time you want to put forward to that, because a lot of businesses, they're running their business. A lot of businesses might not have so much time to kind of put to the side to create video content. I mean, we're trying to do this just because we're seeing the benefits and the values of it, so we're constantly trying to experiment. And that's the key, I guess, it's to experiment. So if you upload 1 week 5 times, look at the average views you got for that week. Next week, maybe upload twice, see the average views, kind of see also what times of day to upload, because the more you experiment with that, then you'll be able to kind of know when your audience are online at any given time. But yeah, just experiment, really try things out, and you'll see. Do we have any questions from YouTube Live?
You know what? I don't have the ability to access our live stream at the moment because of our setup at the moment. We need the second laptop.
Right. So I guess
if there are questions from any of the live viewers, we'll come back to them.
Yeah, we'll come back to them and answer the questions there. So unless there's any other questions from you guys, I guess that wraps it up.
Nope.
No.
All good.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. And
is it something you do here, or?
Yeah, how did you talk about how you guys prepared? Because there are several options for that stuff.
Yeah, so you can also, when going back when I said like editing software, there's loads of people you can find like freelancers, you can find people who specialize in video creation. So for our one, we approached the freelancer who does 2D animations, and then we kind of gave them a brief of what we wanted it to be about, and then that was the finished product. So you definitely don't have to do everything yourself. Even if you've got the raw footage and say no one in your team has any experience with video editing, you can find freelancers or other people who can kind of, you give them the raw video, audio files, and they can compile a video for you to your liking. So yeah, it's very flexible. There's a lot of ways to go about creating editing.
There's the thing to do. My advice would be look at what you're already doing and look at what you've already got. So MintTwist, like workshops like this, we've run workshops for, I don't know, 8 years, 9 years we've been running workshops for. So to live stream a workshop, not very difficult. For after you guys leave, for me to sit down with Itamar and leave and have that camera running and asking some questions to summarise this, to make 10 minutes worth of video that we can edit later and put on YouTube is not very difficult. For us to cut that up into 5 1-minute versions, I can put on my LinkedIn, he can put on his LinkedIn, it's not very difficult. So it's kind of like, what are you doing at the moment, and is there a video play? If you produce case studies and turn them into PowerPoints, you can have a slideshow with a voiceover, and you can turn it into a video. I think for most businesses, that would be my advice, rather than try and create something totally new, something what we've already got.
More about finding the opportunity to transform something you already do into a video.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. So the animated thing, we outsource that, and the barrier, the costs are low because there's more software. There are some systems that potentially, if you're really interested, you can go and make your own animated video. There are some out there. I'm struggling to remember the names, but
but then that is kind of like it's about the time that you want to invest into learning that. Right. So it's all about how much you want to put aside to creating video. I guess it's all down to
time.
So maybe it's like learning how to do it yourself would be very, very time consuming.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
So,
Great.
thank you.
In terms of PPC, do you do anything for Amazon?
Amazon PPC. We have been actually looking into Amazon PPC. We've done Amazon SEO.